Go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon podcast. While US crypto headlines fixate on ETFs and enforcement, Asia is quietly doing something different. Institutions aren't debating whether crypto works, they're deciding which rail to deploy it on. Today's guest has spent the last decade inside that decision-making process. He helped banks and governments across Asia experiment with central bank digital currencies, stablecoins, and tokenized assets, and now he's focused on bringing institutional-grade staking to one of crypto's fastest ecosystems. My guest today is Marc Liew, head of APAC at Jito Foundation. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, Rocco, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So awesome. As I said to you before we started recording, your surname in Afrikaans means lion. And I guess that's what you're doing for Jito Foundation, trying to be the lion in Asia at the moment.
Well, thanks, Rocco. That is definitely a compliment I happily receive. So I just recently joined Jito as head of APAC, helping to actually grow the business here, creating more synergies around educating institutions as far as the retail community of the good things that the Jito Foundation is actually doing. But maybe before that, let me just give a quick intro of my background. So before Jito, I spent the past 8 years in the Web3 space as well, working with R3 and most recently Ripple. I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to be in many rooms with regulators, institutional clients, really helping them to understand, what is Web3, what is blockchain technology, and what's cryptocurrency. And I've sort of like seen that evolution, starting from creating use cases around using blockchain technology and then moving on to central bank digital currencies. And if you remember, all those years, and most recently, I'd say the past 2 to 3 years, where stablecoin actually found its product market fit and really took off. I was felt fortunate to be able to be involved in a lot of those projects. And that actually led me here to Jito. And before Web3, I spent many years in the payment space as a payments guy, working for companies like Fiserv, Braintree, PayPal. What really drove me was I was trying to actually understand if we can actually send a text message, within milliseconds. Why can't we do the same for money, of how money moves globally, right? Why are we still stuck with different currencies, different banking rails, and etc.? So that actually really motivated me to be in the payment space all those years ago. And until I got the chance to, get involved with the whole Bitcoin thing and cryptocurrency back in 2016, when PayPal first offered Bitcoin as a payments option, that time I really went into the rabbit hole to really understand. And I was like, this is going to change payments forever. And true enough, a decade later, stablecoins found its product market fit. And if you look at it now, the trifecta of stablecoin, payments network, and blockchain, right? Everyone is actually doing that and everyone is pushing that ahead. So long story short, very pleased to be here right now helping to build Jito's business.
When you had that aha moment, right, this is huge, this is going to change, where did you go and do research? Did you know people in the industry, or like how did you sort of, because there's still, crypto in my opinion is still very new and niche. We like to think about lots of people involved, but the truth is there are still people like that want to get in and don't know where to start.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So obviously, there are many ways to actually get involved if you believe in something. And from my own experience, I was already within the payment space. So I had a lot of exposure in terms of understanding how payment rails work and how payments actually get sent cross border and how long does it take for payments to actually get settled, right? So when a technology like blockchain technology come around, that actually promises, instantaneous settlement, finality, and transaction certainty. So those kind of factors and reasonings actually resonated a lot, especially for someone coming from the payment space. So naturally, I started, looking online and started reading up about
Online.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And, one thing led to another. And then I joined R3, and then I spent 6 years there. In my last position, I was the head of ecosystem at R3, had a lot of exposures with regulators and really understand how they make decisions when it comes to experimenting with new technology. What are the things that actually they care the most? And of course, working on stablecoins at Ripple. And that actually led me to really understand and realize the potential of the Solana blockchain, especially a protocol like Jito, in helping to actually build the next phase of decentralized economy, one that is actually self-sustainable. Yeah, because if you look at the previous or economic model, like startup, they have a great idea. They need to raise a bunch of funding. They need to find investors, and then they need to use the funding to actually create market share. And then sometimes that's even before they find product market fit. But with Web3, and especially if you are building on a blockchain like Solana, where everything is actually faster and cheaper, your entry barrier of actually creating a startup becomes much lower, right? You can actually create something and you can actually drive economic value from day one. And then with a protocol like Jito, we essentially are a end-to-end revenue engine powering Solana. So we actually help to collect all the network fees and transaction fees from the Solana ecosystem, Solana blockchain, and then we distribute it back to token holders of the Jito Soul liquid staking token. So in a way, it's a very self-sustainable economic model in a way that you can scale your startup. If you have a new idea that you want to build on Solana, you can actually do it from day one, even out directly from the garage without any external funding. So that itself is a very compelling reason of why it actually prompted me to actually join Jito.
Yes. It's insane how it's democratized that whole startup movement. Tell me, do you guys work with institutions as well, or is it just sort of private companies and private people?
No, that's a really good question, and I think that's actually a nice segue to double click in terms of who is Jito, what we do, right? So if you think about Solana as the world's most powerful decentralized computer, then Jito is the revenue engine, and within this revenue engine, we have a few key components that we are helping to grow the Solana ecosystem. So the first thing is called the block assembly marketplace, or in short, it's called BAM. So, if you're familiar with how transactions are actually being processed on Solana or any smart contract based kind of protocol. So before BAM, transaction ordering was a black box where trading bots spam the network with millions of failed transactions trying to land a trade. This clogs up the chain and degrades the user experience, right? So we actually created BAM to change the game by introducing a decentralized, verifiable marketplace for block construction, bringing unprecedented transparency, privacy, and flexibility to the network. So BAM is a transaction scheduling system for Solana using trusted execution environment, TEE. So we ensure that transaction scheduling is private and verifiable. So transactions actually remain private until they are executed. So there's no front running, happening. So it's a very fair and it's a very autonomously governed system to actually schedule transaction. Now, the second piece under the hood of the Jito engine is called StakeNet. It's actually, it actually powers the revenue engine in a decentralized way. So using the Steward program, StakeNet actually autonomously manage validator sets based on transparent on-chain history. So by removing the human element, StakeNet actually ensure that every piece of new stake is always automatically distributed to the most efficient, highest performing validators. So coming back to your questions of institution, right? StakeNet actually resonated with them a lot because one of the biggest reasons why a lot of these institutions are hesitant about blockchain technology and crypto, they felt that there's always a human element behind that, right? But with something like StakeNet, through the decentralization of this stake pool management, Jito removes the centralized user risk that some regulators fear. So making Jito so well received by global institutions because it is decentralized. Should one day Jito goes away, it will continue to actually run on its own, living on the Solana blockchain. So it's fully decentralized economic model. Now, the third piece, this is also a very important piece that I like to highlight, is called Jito Soul. So you can think of Jito Soul as the fuel for global capital, right? So if BAM is the engine, the block building engine, Jito Soul is the high octane fuel that makes this revenue accessible to the world. So in the past, if you are familiar with staking, in the past, you had to choose between staking your soul, right? Lock it up, lock up the tokens with inflation rewards, but you're missing out on the MEV economy or DeFi. You can't deploy it in DeFi. All you can do is just lock up your tokens, stake it, and then hopefully you get a yield, right?
Yes.
Or so Jito Soul actually solved both with its total return asset structure. So you get a staking inflation and you get a MEV rewards. So it's structurally designed to outperform standard staking. So right now, instead of staking, just pure Solana staking, standard staking,
yes,
you can actually stake your Solana into Jito Soul, and you can use Jito Soul as a collateral with some DeFi protocol, and then you can actually get margin to go and deploy your capital as well. So in fact, you actually get the best of both worlds because you get yield from your Jito Soul holding, and at the same time, you also get to actually earn liquidity from all your DeFi activities. So this is actually very powerful, especially for institutional users where they are always looking at how can they actually maximize their returns for their shareholders, right? Now, coming back to the second point of institutional participation,
yes,
we are also entering an era where Solana is actually moving, into the 401ks of the world. So if you are familiar with what's happening over the past 12 months, I say, there are a lot of issuers based out of the US filing Solana ETFs. So ETF is actually one of the best way of getting institutions directly into crypto, right?
Okay.
So if you think about the whole crypto and blockchain technology, there's one way of doing it. Institutionals are thinking about, okay, how can I actually bring traditional assets on chain, RWA, etc. But this road is long and tedious because you have to figure out about regulation, you have to figure out about technicalities, which blockchain to use, which wallet, etc. And then also you have most important questions around liquidity, right? The issuers will always ask, all right, you're asking me to tokenize this bond on chain. Where is that liquidity is going to come from? Are you telling me that all the DeFi players is going to buy my bond, right? Too many questions to ask. Now that's the other end of the spectrum. We have something called an ETF. Now ETF is all about making crypto accessible to all money, right?
Yes.
Think about it this way. You have your stock brokerage account.
Old money. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you have your stock brokerage account that you have already signed up, 20 years ago, whatever, and that you use to buy stocks, etc.
Yes.
Now I'm telling you, with let's say a Solana ETF or a Jito Soul ETF, you do not have to do anything, but you can continue to actually maintain the relationship that you have with your brokers, and then you can actually get access to exposure to cryptos, right? Solana and Jito Soul. So that is actually very powerful because essentially you remove all the frictions and you lower down, the barrier of entry for investors to actually have exposure directly to cryptos.
All of this sounds extremely impressive. Do you think Asia is in front of the US when it comes to crypto and especially in payment adoptions and making things easier and faster and more transparent?
Yeah. So there's a few perspectives to this, right? So you mentioned payments. So let's use payments as the first point. Asia or APAC in general, obviously it's not one singular market like the US. I think in the US, there's always benefits because you are talking about a very large addressable market.
Yes.
However, for APAC, you are segregated and segmented into 10, 15 different countries, different economies, different languages, different cultural and regulatory
Mm,
nuances. So it's very, very different and very fragmented.
okay.
However, in terms of what we're actually seeing in terms of blockchain and cryptocurrency development, stablecoin has very quickly found its product market fit, especially in Asia and developing nations around stablecoins, because it actually solves the hardest problem that's been plaguing these communities and economies for years, like cross-border money, right? There's a lot of
Mm,
Asians that's working overseas trying to send money back.
yeah, yeah.
Previously, they have to go through the SWIFT,
Mm. And
the
those
the
fees are
banks, and
crazy.
the fees are crazy, and then it takes 3 days, right? Right now, they are getting paid overseas directly in say, US dollar stablecoin,
Mm, mm,
and then they can actually send the stablecoin directly to their loved ones back home in a few seconds.
mm.
This is actually very, very important and crucial. And why this kind of development, especially around stablecoin, will have a cascading effect to all the other pieces around crypto. Because now you are seeing this population that is actually they're very comfortable with using stable coins, right?
Yes,
It
yes.
becomes their daily activity. It's not about blockchain and crypto anymore. It just
No,
becomes muscle memory and habit, right?
it's in the
The next
background.
thing
It just
is in the
works.
background.
Yes,
Exactly. It
yes.
just works. No one cares anymore. This is the sweet spot you want to get to. When it gets
Mm,
boring, that's when real scalability happens, um, and the cascading effect is that they're so comfortable with using stablecoin. The next thing they use their stablecoin to go into DeFi. They're using DeFi like at their banking apps, and then they're experimenting with Jito. So
mm-hmm.
essentially it's just like a bank deposit but
Yes.
better, right? In traditional sense, you park $10,000 with your bank will tell you, I'm going to give you 4%, as long as you don't take out the money. And the bank will actually take your $10,000 and go and make more than that 4%, right?
Yes.
But if you look at a product like Jito, not only, you get to capture the real economic values that happen on the Solana blockchain directly, you get a
Yes.
higher APY. And at
Mm,
the same time, you can use your Jito as collateral in all the other DeFi protocols to make more money for yourself. So
mm,
it's just like that bank deposit, but better. So these are all some of the examples of why, like, Asia
mm.
might be, innovating, naturally with
Innovating,
their own
yeah.
population from a
Yeah.
retail community perspective.
Yes, yes,
However, if we want to like put an institutional lens on it, the
yes.
US is still going to continue leading in terms of institutional development, right? So
Interesting.
I use ETF regulation as an example.
Mm,
So ETF regulations, we can say that most of the ETFs being filed are currently out of the US by
mm,
US issuers,
mm,
right? That's a fact,
mm.
and that's actually a good thing because we are actually seeing a lot of conversations, especially from issuers in Asia. They
Mm-hmm.
are actually working with us and trying to understand what are our conversations and how do we actually work with issuers in the US to file some of these products. So in a
Mm,
way, we can actually use the works that we're doing with US issuers as a playbook to help educate the market in Asia as well in terms of what's next for institutional playbook, right? And also I think when it comes to the US regulation for crypto has been extremely positive
yes,
with the current administration,
yes.
especially over the past 20 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that has actually improved a lot of a lot of perspective when it comes to regulators in Asia looking at crypto and getting getting more involved with crypto.
Mark, thank you for that snapshot. Last question before I let you go. For builders and investors, what should they look out for this year? What's the thing that you're most excited about? Could be in crypto space, could be in payments, could be in Jito, anything.
Yeah, that's always the $1 million question, right? So and just sharing my own perspective, right?
Mm,
I think the whole crypto space has matured
mm.
significantly. Um, I mean, there's always going to be meme coins going around,
Yes.
which is fun, right? If
Yeah.
you treat them as it is, meme coins as being meme coins is a nice hobby, right?
Mm, mm.
And then I think the positive things is also you are seeing a lot more participation from institutions right now.
Yes.
That
Yes.
actually helps to validate a lot of things because as retail, you are not just shooting blind anymore. Real use cases are getting sticky on blockchains like Solana, and then you have innovative regulated products or well received by institutions like Jito being
Mm.
adopted by institutions. And then if you actually look at how you can actually participate, I mean, the good thing about crypto is that there's always something for
Yes.
everyone, right?
Yes.
Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it is you're looking for you, whether you're looking for DeFi, I think overall the landscape has matured a lot, and with agentic AI and the whole development, on that
Mm-hmm.
side of the tech space, I think potentially there's going to be some convergence, in terms of maybe agentic AI is going to help to automate some of these stablecoin payments, right? For
Mm.
example, proof of thought, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, what's stopping us from doing that? We already have smart contracting, governing, staking and yield generation and stablecoin payments. So yeah, and I think the payment space will
Yes.
continue to evolve and matures, and
Yes.
it will actually you will see more payments volumes being deployed and move on chain. That is a fact. We're not running away because stablecoins is here to stay. Is one of the first product market fit, and second of all, yield bearing product. Now,
Yes.
yield bearing product like Jito is very well received because stablecoin yield is still a gray area. There's no clarity around it, and most stablecoin issuers they are not sharing their yield with their holders anymore. Not sharing their yield with their holders yet, right? And they
Yes.
don't want to. Why should they, right?
Mm.
And if you hold a stablecoin, does the issuer give you 4% by holding their stablecoin? No, right? Right now,
Mm.
stablecoin you're just using it for utility, right?
Yes.
And most of the issuers will hope that it stays that way because the yield, right? But liquid staking token like Jito gives you the yield from day one, and then you can use it as collateral to further deploy your capital. So you get the yield, you get the liquidity, and then and I think that is a very strong angle for anyone who is actually looking at how can they maximize their participation in DeFi.
I love it. Mark, thank you so much for joining me today. If the listeners want to go and connect with you and Jito, where can they find you?
Yes, we are on X.
Mm-hmm.
We are very active on X. And then if they love to actually learn more about Jito, feel free to go to jito.network. That's our website. And we are always on conference circuit. Feel free to reach out and then have a conversation. And I think next we're going to be at Consensus Hong Kong.
Awesome.
Yeah, we look forward to connecting with the community and helping the ecosystem grow.
You've got a massive community on X, just by the way.
Yeah.
And they call you out on your nonsense if you do something that they don't like, which I like. We'll put all the links in the comments, Mark. Thank you so much for joining me and good luck with this year ahead. And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
Feet on the ground. You won't let